we would a regular routine call. If a guy comes into the office and says, I've been robbed, it's my duty to believe that he's been robbed and to investigate it as fully as we can. Well, all we could do is go to the scene and interview these men and really stay with these men and observe them and question them, I mean, to the fullest extent. And at no time could we, their stories were the same. We interviewed them separately and then we put them together and we monitored their conversation. I believe the men stopped them to scare them. Whether, like I said already, I don't know why.
So after we got off work, probably 4:30, I think, we were working 9 hours a day. I came home and to get my fishing gear, and we wouldn't go out in a boat because we were going to the banks of the river and fish from the banks for speckled trout and redfish. So we got our bait and we got to the river and tried several spots, and it had become dark by that time. We do quite a bit of fishing after dark, down here in that time of the year. So I don't know what attracted my attention, where I had reached around and get more bait, which was sitting behind us, or I heard some kind of zipping-like sound, like air, a steam or something escaping from a pipe. And as I turned around, I saw some two blue flashing lights, or either pulsating lights, I'm not sure. And it seemed like it was some type of craft, and it seemed like it was almost down to the ground then. In fact, it seemed to be about a couple of feet, above the ground, and it just hovered there. So Calvin had turned by this time, and he was looking at it too. And really, I didn't know what to do. I was just spellbound there for a few minutes, and then almost immediately some type of opening appeared in the end that was toward us, with what I assumed to be the front end. And the light that had come outside, it was real bright light. And three things appeared in the doorway of the craft, and they seemed to just glide out of the craft. They never touched the ground. They seemed to just glide across. It must have been 25 or 30 feet from us, or maybe a little further than that. And they came to us, just glided over to us, and two of them took me by the arms from the side, and one took hold of Calvin, and I seen Calvin go limp, and I didn't know it then, but he had fainted. So they carried me inside the craft, and the light was almost blinding inside. In fact, for about 3 or 4 days, I had something like a bad welding flash in my eyes. And I can't recall, or I can't remember just what was on the inside, simply because the light was so bright that I just couldn't make out what it was. But I didn't see any tables or chairs, and the room seemed to be round. Of course, that could have been because the light seemed to be glowing from the walls and the overhead and the ceiling. But they carried me, about the middle of the room, and we would just seem to be suspended there. I couldn't move. I didn't have any feelings, no sensation of any feel. And it seemed something like a big eye. I keep referring to it as an eye because it was about size for a small baseball. In the end, it was focused toward me. It was a different color or a different light. And it seemed to come directly out from the wall, and it came within 6 or 8 inches of my face, and it remained there for a few minutes, and then very few minutes, and then it went over my entire body. I'm assuming it did, because when it went down like this, I seemed to be suspended there, and the next time I seen it, it was coming back up over this way. So I assumed that it went over my entire body. But it came back in front of my face and stayed there for a few more minutes, and then it seemed to just go right back into the wall. And these things, the way they were holding me, I was elevated, because they weren't as tall as me, and they were upright, and I was elevated like this, and I could move my eyes, only thing I could move. And I could see that they had released me. And I don't know where they went, whether they went outside the craft or another room or compartment, but they didn't come in front of me. And they left me that way for a few minutes, I don't know how long. And then after a while, I seen them then when they come back to the side of me and took hold of me again, and they carried me back outside the craft, and we were still just gliding. I wasn't touching anything that I know of. And they seemed to just glide back out to where they had taken me from and put me back down on the ground. Well, when they did, I fell because my legs were weak and they gave way on me. And it was this time that I seen Calvin again. He was standing there. He was standing facing the river with his arms outstretched, and he was almost in shock. He seemed to appear to me at that time something was wrong with him. But so I was trying to make my way toward him, and I was crawling. I couldn't get my legs to working. But before I got to him, the strength of what it was came back to my legs, and I was getting up on my feet, and I heard the same sound I'd heard before, a zipping sound. And I glanced around, and I saw the blue flashing lights, and the craft was just gone, just almost instantly. And I made it to Calvin, and I shook him and was calling to him, and it took me several minutes to get him where I could even talk to him, with any sense, and he was going in shock. And these things that came out of the craft, they were about 5 or 5 foot 4 inches tall, and they didn't have a neck. The head seemed to come directly to the shoulders, and they had something that resembled a nose on a face, and about where ears would be was something that was similar to the nose, only it was a little longer. They seemed to come out almost to a point. And under the nose there was something like a slit for a mouth, and it was very wrinkled. And it appeared to me to be something like an elephant skin, but I don't know whether it was a metal or what it was, but it seemed to be very wrinkled, with the wrinkles running horizontal. And in the area where the eyes should have been, it was so wrinkled that I'm not even sure there was eyes. I can't recall whether there was any eyes nodding. Calvin says he can't. But anyway, after I got Calvin where I could talk to him, we didn't know what to do, and we were almost scared to death. And we first decided we wouldn't tell anyone, but the more we talked about it, the more we realized that we had to tell somebody. It was the military authorities, if nobody else. So we called Keesler Air Force Base, which is only about 30 miles south of here. And I talked to someone there, and they told me that the Air Force didn't handle those things anymore, that we would have to go through our sheriff's department. Well, then we hesitated again, because, you go to the people, something like that is not supposed to happen, and when you would probably be laughed at and ridiculed. But we talked it over again and decided we would call the sheriff's department, and Sheriff Fred Diamond told us to come on over there, that we'd talk about it. So we stayed there for several hours talking with them and them questioning us. And the sheriff promised me that it wouldn't any news media know anything about it, that he would try to get it to the proper authorities, if he could find out who the proper authorities was, and have it investigated.